Welcome back to HPP, the podcast that talks with tomorrow's hoop stars. I am Rich Harris, and thank you for joining us again. Today, I am joined by, or will be joined by, three all-conference type players. Starting off, we'll start off in the Big East with Zach Freemantle of Xavier. Zach's been with the team for, he's a graduate student, so he's in his fifth year. Next up will be Lipscomb senior forward, Jacob Ognacevic. And that's a tricky one. And he is the 12th leading scorer in the country and also the leading candidate to be player of the year in the Atlantic Sun Conference. And lastly, we have a unique interview with Air Force senior guard Ethan Taylor. He's been having he's had a stellar career actually at Air Force, but also having a stellar year. So we'll jump right into those interviews right now. Our special guest today is Xavier graduate forward Zach Freemantle. This season, Zach is averaging 16.6 points, 7.1 rebounds, 2 assists, and 1.1 steals per game. He ranks in the top 10 of the Big East for points per game, rebounds per game, field goal percentage at 50%, and player efficiency rating. Zach, welcome to the show. How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
I am good. You know, one of the things that always occurs to me when I talk to a player is I always think about their name. And you have a really cool name in Freemantle. Mm-hmm. So do you know the origins of that name?
I do not. No.
Are you French? Because you do have that with the goatee and the thin mustache, you have that Parisian French artist look. Are you French?
No, not to my knowledge. I'm not entirely sure, like, of all my, nationality and whatnot. I know on my mom's side, I'm Irish. But I think on my dad's side, it's more like English and Russian. I don't think there's any French.
Wow. Well, the first thing when I put it in Google, it says, are you ready for this? It says it's an old French word. The word was fromental. Which I thought was funny, and then which means wheat field.
Okay.
So there you go. I don't know, but there were other references that said a lot of people called Fremantle are from towns that are named Fremantle. So
okay. Yeah, that's the only history I know of it. I know there's like a town, like a kind of a bigger city in Australia called Fremantle.
Yes.
It was like an old prison town or something like that.
And there's one in England and there's one in France. So yeah, that's all over. All right. So you're a Jersey boy. I'm a Jersey boy. You went to Bergen Catholic. How did you get away from Rutgers?
Actually, so Rutgers only had one spot, like one scholarship to offer in my class, and they wanted the kid Paul Mulcahy.
Right.
So they didn't have the scholarships to give that year.
All right, interesting. And Seton Hall? Seton
Hall never recruited me.
Huh. All right, I'm not going to comment about that. All right. So over the past years, the team has been bitten by the injury bug. I would say more so than most teams I could think of, maybe the most that I could think of. And that actually kind of continued into this season. Lassina Traore was supposed to be like your main rim protector this year. He went down over the summer for the season. Trey Green has been out for, I think, a couple of months. However, what I really want to focus on about your health, and I'm sure you're kind of tired talking about it, but just for people who don't know, could you kind of go over the history, kind of going back to when you first got hurt in March 2021, how you were, you missed basically the end of that season and then the end of your junior season, right?
No, so I missed the beginning of my junior season. So I got hurt going into the summer going into my junior seasons when the stress fracture originally came up. So then I had gotten the surgery, and then I got surgery I think maybe like late September, early October. So I got back on the court um in like early December. Uh which was probably too early, but it ended up kind of being fine. We played the rest of that season. It wasn't the best season or anything, but we were good for the rest of that season. Then I go into my senior year, which is when Sean came in. So then I start that season, everything's good, and then I get hurt January, I think it was 28th out at Creighton. Is when I got hurt the second time, and then I was done for that season, which is when they finished the season, Sweet 16 and all that. And then going into the next season is when I got hurt the final time. Yeah, going into my what would have been my fifth year season last year when Quincy came and all that,
Hmm.
that everybody. So that was the last time I got hurt, and then so I got hurt, redshirted all of last year. Took the whole year to get everything right, and here's where we are now.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, because I often am. It was at least one time it was your foot, and was another time your shoulder?
No, every time was my foot. I when I went out down this year after the UC game, I had tweaked my knee, but all other times before that, it was my foot.
Okay, all right. And when you went down this year,
Mm,
um, I think someone said foot because I knew foot had been the major thing for
yeah,
you.
yeah,
And I swear to God, when I heard it on television, I'm watching, like the beginning of one of your games, and so they go like, who's playing and who's not. And
mm,
I swear to God, my heart fell in my stomach because I know what you and Jerome have gone through,
yeah.
And so, going through all those injuries, um, lesser person may have given up. What kept pushing you through?
It's just, passion for the game. I really, really love playing basketball. And, obviously I have an opportunity to get this education through it, make some money playing this. So, as long as that's in front of me, I'm gonna give it everything I have.
Right. And with Jerome, he's gone through multiple serious setbacks. His varied in their nature. Did you and you kind of were on similar timelines? Did you guys work out together? Did you help each other, push each other
Yeah,
through?
yeah,
And
of course. That's also he's my roommate.
oh,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, yeah. No, we went through a lot together. That's a very, very close friend of mine. So yeah, we were always there to, support each other. And especially this last time, it was his Achilles and my foot. So it was like we were doing a lot of the same things at the same time. So
right.
yeah, we ended up being in the training room doing the same exercises with each other a lot.
Good, good. And Jerome, yeah, I met him briefly on Media Day, and he seems like a great guy, and also very valuable to your team. Especially when you lost Lucina, it was because I think it was a little bit of a question mark whether how much he was going to be able to play this year. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it's amazing how much he's been through and how he's been able to come all the way back, all the way like he's back 100% at this point. Like not a
right.
lot of people can do that.
And you too. I mean, you're playing over 30 minutes a game in a high motion offense that plays at a good pace. So, when I first saw you this season, um, I said to myself, he looks a step quicker and a step faster.
Mhm.
Do you feel like you're in the best physical shape you've ever been?
I do. Yes. We took the entire year last year off completely to make sure that everything was good. No pain, no discomfort anywhere. So we worked a lot on a lot of different things, mobility, explosiveness, and everything. So I do feel like I'm in like the best shape, best physical fitness, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Good, good. I think Jerome is officially the OG on a team of OGs. You're one of the oldest teams in college basketball. Do opponents come up to you guys and say things like, "How are the grandkids?"
Um, we've gotten a couple, it hasn't, we mostly get it from, the other opposing student sections and whatnot, go get a job and da da da. But
Right, right.
it hasn't been anything too crazy, no.
I heard that at the Garden this week.
Mhm.
I was covering St. John's UConn, and I heard someone yell at somebody. There were like it was like 50-50 UConn St. John's fans, and someone yells, "Go get a job," and I'm thinking he's probably making more money than you. But anyway,
Yeah.
all right. So, what's that?
Yeah, no, exactly. Like, and we're getting free education, playing basketball. Why would you not want to do this? But
Right, exactly. So is there a jokester on the team? Does anyone dare to impersonate coach?
there to impersonate coach. I mean, I'd say the whole team's got kind of got a little, that side to them. But I don't know about imitate coach, but I'd say like main jokesters on the team would have to be like John Hughley and Dalen Swain.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
they like to crack jokes.
All right. Um, so, bigger guys at the college level, such as you, Jerome, often are forced to play more in the paint than would be ideal for your skill set. Would you say there's a hidden talent that maybe we haven't seen you be able to utilize a lot at this level because you're basically a lot of times playing the five?
Yeah, yeah, no, especially once Lucina got hurt, I pretty much had to move completely over to the five. But I just feel like I don't get to take advantage of as many mismatches as normally I would be able to, because I'm always just gonna have the biggest person on me, and like usually when you have someone bigger than you on you, you want to kind of take them out to the perimeter. But when you're playing the five position, you don't necessarily have as much opportunity to do that.
Right.
So I don't get to do that as much as I might like to. But other than that, no, I mean, coach lets me play pretty freely. He lets me pick my shots. I have a pretty, green light. So other than, maybe stretching bigger dudes out on the perimeter and stuff like that, not too much.
Okay. The team has won 9 of its last 12, including 4 straight.
Hmm.
Meanwhile, you lead the team in points per game, and you've scored. I don't know if you know this. You've scored in double figures every game this season.
Hmm.
Recently, however, the offensive load has kind of been distributed. I looked over the last 10 games. Ryan Conwell, Dante Maddox, Dalen, and yourself have at least led the team twice in scoring, but it hasn't always been you.
Yeah.
And Ryan, who's really close to you in points per game. So do you think that, more evenly distribution of scoring has helped the team during this streak where you've definitely seemed to be playing your best ball of the season?
It certainly has. I mean, for one, you mentioned Dante. He's just stepped up and has been playing a lot better than he had to start the season. Of course,
Right.
I haven't. We don't have the deepest bench. We only have like 3 guys coming in. So for one of them to step up and take a jump, that obviously will help your team a lot. But of course, when you're able to distribute the scoring a little more, you kind of have like the defense guessing a little more what's coming. They can't game plan as well. Like, okay, we're gonna shut Ryan Conwell or we're gonna shut Zach Freemantle down. Like, no, you got to account for Dalen, you got to account for Dante, you got to account for Davion. So it does help us, in terms of that too.
Right. And shout out to Dante. He's been on the show twice. And I consider him a friend. So tell him I said hello.
All right.
Um, this season, you split with UConn, you split with Marquette, you split with Villanova. And other than the Michigan game, who I might add is just fell from first place in the Big Ten to second, you
Mhm.
have been competitive in all your losses, including a recent overtime defeat at the Garden to St. John's.
Mhm.
Do you guys talk about, in the meantime, ESPN this morning has you first 4 out. Okay. So do you guys and the coaches talk much about what needs to be accomplished to get into the tourney?
No, we don't really talk about what needs to be done to get into the tournament. We're more of a one game at a time. Coach did break it down for us at one point. He kind of broke it down to like, so we have, I think it was that we had like 9 games left in the season at that point, and he was like, so we have 5 home games, 4 away games. We have to win 5 home games and 3 away games or whatever the numbers were to
Right.
be in. But since he's had that one meeting, we haven't talked about it. We've just been taking it one game at a time. and we've been able to accomplish enough to keep us in contention, within reach. So yeah, no, it's just when we got to beat Creighton. We know we have to do that. So we'll do
Right.
that and go from there. Yeah.
You're leading me into my next question because I did give it some thought, and I'm thinking if you win your last three regular season games,
Mm,
that would give you a bye in the Big East tournament.
yeah.
Then you win the first round of the tourney, which would probably be against UConn. I
Hmm.
think if you did that, so that would basically be winning your next four games,
Yeah.
you're in. I don't think they can keep you out if you do that. And I
Mm,
still think you have a chance, even if you don't. But I think that's kind of like a stamp. You're in.
yeah.
So now you bring up Creighton. They're at your place this weekend. What is the key to that game? Is it stopping Kalkbrenner? Is it stopping Ashworth? Or perhaps it's you pulling Kalkbrenner out of the paint on the offensive end? How are you looking at that game?
Obviously it's gonna be a little mix of everything you just said. But I think I can't say too much right now. I don't know when this is coming out or anything, but
It'll come out before the game.
I'm not gonna say too much on that, but we just got obviously Kalkbrenner is a great player. He shot a very high percentage against us the past few times he's been able to play us. So it might not be able to, keep him off from scoring completely, but you want to keep him from scoring at a 70% clip, an 80% clip.
Right.
That's when they're at their best. So, you kind of want to take that away from them and then, obviously just try to, get their 3-point shooters off the line and see and go from there.
All right. Got two more quick ones for you. And all of your college career, who is the player that the opponent who
Mm.
you've admired the most? You respect their game or maybe them as a person or um
Yeah, I've been in college for a while. I've played a lot of good players. Let's see who's some that I've really respected. Like you're saying opponents, right? That's what you
yeah,
said.
opponents, not teammates.
Yeah. Let's see. Like I'd say like someone maybe I'm trying to think kind of positional, like for my position wise as well. Kind of like maybe like a Sandro Mamu from Seton Hall.
Oh yeah, right.
He was
Yeah,
a really hard one to guard
right.
whenever we have them. Who else? Who else? Man, it's been a lot of good players. Obviously, people like Caravan, anybody from UConn in the past few years have been
Right.
amazing. You got to respect what that program's done. It's not easy to win two national championships in a row.
No, sir.
So I mean, it's been a lot. Obviously, my freshman year, you having a guard play like Miles Powell, Marcus Howard, players like that, and
Right.
yeah. So
Yeah,
there's been a lot of players, man. So
right.
it's been a good conference over the years.
So going back to when you were named all Big East freshman in 2020, how long does that feel like? Does it feel like yesterday or does it feel like a decade ago?
It feels like a little bit ago. Yeah, no, it definitely doesn't feel like it was yesterday.
And what will you miss the most about college?
Definitely just, the environment of everyone being so close. All my teammates live in my apartment building. We can always just walk up and down the stairs, find each other. So yeah, I'll definitely just miss the, close-knit environment of it.
Right, right. Well, Zach, I want to thank you for joining us today, and I wish you and the team the best for the remainder of the season. And I assume you'll be going through the draft process, correct?
Mhm. Yep.
So, as you're going through that, if you find the time, we'd love to have you back to talk about how your workouts are going and stuff like that.
All right. Sounds good, man. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, Zach. Our next special guest is Lipscomb senior forward Jacob Ognacevic. I always want to say itch, like, the Eastern European thing. The leading candidate to be the player of the year in the Atlantic Sun Conference. So far this season, Jacob has led the Bisons to a regular season championship in the A-Sun, averaging 20.3 points, 8 rebounds, and 1.5 assists per game, while shooting 58% from the floor, 41% from deep, and 79% from the free throw line. His 20.3 points per game leads the A-Sun and ranks 12th in the country. And Jacob also ranks in the top 5 of the conference for rebounds per game, effective field goal percentage, free throw percentage, offensive rating, player efficiency rating, win shares, and plus minus. Welcome to the show, Jacob. How you doing?
Doing good. Thanks for having me.
Last night you clinched the regular season title, and it was senior night. How was that experience?
It was a really good night for us. I think we had a lot of nerves coming into that game just because we knew that a lot was at stake, but it was really fun to walk for senior night and then walk with my fellow teammates too. And then to get the win too, that was just a cherry on top of a great night. So it was a really fun night for our team.
Did you have family in town?
Yeah, my parents flew down. I'm from Wisconsin, so they were able to fly out of Chicago and then flew back this morning. So yeah, it was a quick trip for them, but they were able to be there.
Good, good. Your last name could be a little tricky, as we witnessed at the top.
Yeah.
What's the funniest mispronunciation you've ever heard?
It gets mispronounced a lot, but I remember at the West Georgia game this year, we were playing at their place and they pronounced it. They tried maybe 4 or 5 times and just botched it every single time. Like it wasn't even close. But
well, they're new to D1, so we can cut them a little slack.
Exactly. Yeah, we'll cut them.
So do a lot of people say itch though? Like Dontich, as opposed to Vic?
Yeah, they do, but a lot of people just call me Jo. I avoid the last name completely. So
I hear that on the broadcast. So I believe you rank 7th all time in points scored in Wisconsin high school basketball history. Were you recruited by Wisconsin or Marquette?
No, I wasn't. I was in high school. I was recruited by UW, Green Bay, and Milwaukee. Those were the 2 Wisconsin schools, and then a few other schools.
Right.
Too. That was just Green Bay and Milwaukee. No, Marquette or Wisconsin.
Were you a little surprised? I mean, given how prolific your career was?
Not really. I think at that time I really wasn't a high major prospect yet. Like I was still pretty, not going to say raw, but I still had some growth to go in my game. So yeah, I was too shocked.
Okay. As a freshman, you played at Valpo, and then you transferred to Lipscomb. What was the attraction?
Yeah, so when I transferred to Lipscomb, it was a pretty unique time because we were still kind of getting over the COVID stuff. So my first year of college was during the COVID year. So I was playing in front of pretty much no one. We barely had any fans there. So when I entered the transfer portal out of Valpo, I wasn't able to do any visits. So I was just at home taking Zoom calls. And I didn't get to go to Lipscomb until I, committed here and then showed up for the summer right away, June 1st. But yeah, I had a Zoom meeting with the coaches. It went very well. And then I just kept on talking to the coaches throughout the process and then looked into a lot of other things and just decided that Lipscomb was the place for me. Coming out of Valpo, I didn't really think that I would end up in Nashville. I always thought I would stay close to home because Valpo was only 3 hours away from my home and I'm really close with my family. So I thought I would stay close to them. But, Lipscomb was just a really attractive school. I love the coaching staff. I love the guys. It was a new area. I thought it would be a good challenge for me, and I ultimately decided to commit here. And yeah,
Nashville is known for its music scene. Are you a musical person?
No, I'm not. I really didn't know too much about Nashville committing here. I just kind of heard it was like a cool city, up and coming city, and that it had good weather too. It has a lot better weather here than it does in Wisconsin. So that was a bonus too.
So have you tried line dancing?
No, I'll never do anything like that. Yeah. Hard pass.
It looks really fun though. It really does.
Yeah, I don't think I can do it.
I would be willing to try. But all right. So what is it that you now that you've been there for 4 years, what is it that you most like about the school on and off the court?
Yeah, I would say off the court, it's just the people here. Like we have such a good culture around here, like just with my teammates and then the university as a whole. Like everyone is just so nice and just everyone's together. And it's a really unique place and it's a really great place to go to college. I'm really thankful that I have been here the past 4 years. And then On the court, I would say I love the coaching staff. I love the guys that I play with too. It's a joy to go to practice every day and play under our coaches and then play with our guys. We have a really fun team, really goofy group of guys. It's, fun in the locker room, fun out on the floor, and just I want to keep this thing going as long as we can because it's just every day is a blast here.
So what are you going to miss the most about college life?
Oof. I would say the people, definitely. I mean, some of my teammates, I'm going to miss seeing them every day for sure. But I know our relationship will continue beyond this. But yeah, just the teammates, not seeing them every day will be tough. But I know.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. In our preseason preview, a colleague of mine, Jake Kopstick, and I, this is for the A-Sun preview, we both predicted the Bisons would win the conference and go to March Madness. However, Jake picked you as player of the year, and I'm ashamed to say this, but I picked Jacksonville's Robert McCray. And the main reason, and I said it on the show at the time, is because I was concerned about your knee injury. From what I hear, that was significant, cost you all of last season. What was the recovery process like, and do you feel 100% now?
Yeah, I'm 100% now. Last year when I went down with a knee injury, it took a lot longer to heal than expected. But once I was able to kind of get over that hump, I was able to, kind of get going a little bit. And then right when the season ended, I was able to kind of start up with everything, which was nice. I had a whole off season, a whole spring, a whole summer to just kind of practice and then get used to playing basketball again. And then I had 2 scrimmages before the first game. So, I mean, even during the beginning of the year, I was kind of getting used to playing again because, I mean, I had a whole season off. So it was just, it was a unique time. But yeah, I mean, the knee isn't bothering me anymore. Thank God for that. I mean, felt like it was never going to heal at the beginning of last year, but it's all good now. So I'm very thankful for that.
Good. You're definitely, statistically playing better than ever. And as I said, the Bisons are now the top seed in the A-10 tourney, A-Sun tourney. The team did suffer a setback about 15 games in. You lost sophomore big Dylan Faulkner, who was your best rim protector. Even so, though, the team still tops the conference in defensive efficiency. How did you accomplish that without a big-time shot blocker?
Yeah, so losing Dylan was a big loss for us. He's a great player, and he's going to come back really strong too. He's a really good player, but we have an old, mature team, so we kind of, when he went down, we realized that we needed other guys to step up, and I think Charlie Williams and Grant did a great job of filling his role, and then other guys too. We had to take a bigger role and stepping up on defense. And, I had to play more 5, being able to guard their 5, and then also rebounding too. When you lose a guy like Dylan, he's like a pogo stick out there. He's like a 6'9" pogo stick. He's getting a lot of rebounds too. So a lot of us had to rebound a lot better with him out. And then it was kind of next man up. I mean, our team's been used to that. Like last year, I went down before the first game, and then Darren Boyd went down too in January. He was having a fantastic year last year, and we've been dealing with injuries a lot, so we just kind of have to have the mentality of next man up. If someone goes down, we got to be able to step up, and I know that our team's ready to step up if someone goes down, and that's exactly what Charlie Williams and Grant did this year for us when Dylan went down.
Right. Another factor, you guys have been excellent on the perimeter defensively. You lead the conference 3-point defense. I think you're only allowing about 31% from deep. Would you say that's been one of your strengths?
Yeah, I remember my first year here. I think we were last in the conference in 3-point defense, and just like being able to guard the 3 is so important because, today playing basketball, a lot of it's about shooting the 3. So, I mean, we've done a great job of guarding it so far, and that just really helps our defense. I mean, giving up no 3s is big time. So, yeah.
I know you probably don't get a lot of chance to watch other basketball, but I think there's a trend you're seeing around the country. I saw it when when Auburn, for example, played Alabama, of not helping so much,
Yeah.
basically staying with the shooters. Is that something that you guys have been trending toward?
I'd say it kind of depends on the game. Like with each game, you have a different scout and a different game plan. But I would
Right.
say college basketball as a whole is kind of, turning into that. It's kind of more of like an NBA style where, you can't leave your man because if you leave him open, he's going to be able to shoot the three. And that's, you look at most college basketball teams, they have a few guys that can really shoot it from three. And if you are in the help and they kick it out to them, they're going to hit it. So, I mean, there's a lot of really good shooters out there on every team. So you just got to be prepared to guard them if you're playing against them.
Right. You've already, looking ahead, and I know you don't want to do that too much, but the Bisons could potentially face Eastern Kentucky in the second round of the ASUN tournament. The Colonels, swept you during the regular season. So what will be the key to beating them in a potential third matchup with them?
Yeah, they did beat us twice. They're a good team, but I know for that game, we'll definitely be fired up and ready to go. I mean, we've beaten every team in the conference besides them. So, I mean, if we do play them again, I think our guys will be super fired up and motivated to play that game. And, it's an ASUN semifinal game too. We'll be really excited for that. But I mean, both times we played them, we had a good game plan. They just, played good basketball, but we'll be ready next time if we face them. And
is there anything in particular about them that makes them a tough matchup for you?
I know when we went down there, our last loss, we shot the three ball really bad. I think we were like maybe, yeah, we didn't shoot great here either. So I think we were like 15% there, maybe like we just shot bad. So I mean, we got to be able to hit shots. I mean, that's basketball. You got to be able to score. So I mean, we missed a lot of shots, and then we just got to guard too. I think down there we didn't. I mean, we played pretty solid D. We just missed a lot of threes, but we got to execute better if we play them next time, which we will.
You have already faced a pair of big time, college teams in Kentucky and Arkansas. In those games, you averaged 16.5 points and 7 boards in the game, but the team lost pretty handily. What did you learn from those games? And given a chance, will the team take any kind of different approach if, in the NCAA tournament, if you make it that far?
Yeah. So the Arkansas game, I remember, I think it was a 4-point game with like 4 minutes left. We were battling with them throughout the whole game, and then they pulled away at the end. So that game was a lot closer than this, final score said. Mm-hmm. But and then the Kentucky game, they popped us pretty bad. They shot the ball really good. But yeah, I mean, that was earlier on in the year. I think we're a different team now. Like, back then for those games we had Dylan, and now we don't. But I mean, you know how it goes when March hits, anything can happen, upsets can happen. So I mean, if we get in a tournament and we play a team like that, we're gonna be confident, we're gonna be fired, ready to go for sure. But with those games, I think it's just we can take away some things from it, but it also happened so long ago. Like, we're a lot different team now. So I mean, if we play another team in the tournament, we're not going to be intimidated or whatever. We're going to be ready to go. And yeah.
Okay. Big guys at the college level typically are forced to play in the paint more than maybe is ideal for their game. And I think you probably experienced this at least somewhat. What would you say about your game that maybe there's a hidden talent that you haven't been able to fully display? Because, I know you're a 3-level scorer, great 3-point shooter, but is there any aspect of your game that you think maybe if you played next to, a 7-foot, shot blocker, that might be different?
I'm not sure. I mean, right now I'm kind of getting a lot of double teams in the conference. So, I'm not really sure. I mean,
is there anything like when you're just playing pickup or whatever, you think, well, I don't really get a chance to do this too much in a game, but I can do this?
Yeah, I mean, I would say with our offense, I'm able to do a lot of different things. Like the one good thing with our offense is that you're able to shoot. I'm able to post. I'm able to attack the hoop. So I'm able to do a lot for sure. So, I mean, with our offense, I'm able to showcase all my skills.
Right, right. And you've definitely been effective from all ranges. After the season, I imagine you'll be going through the draft process. What aspects on your game will you be working on, both offensively and defensively, prior to meeting up with NBA teams and going to the different combines and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really thought much about the off season. I'm trying to keep this season going as long as possible. I mean, like I said before, I love playing with these guys and playing for this team. But in the off season, there's always things to improve on, and I would say just becoming as athletic as I can. Getting a little bit more, add a few more inches to my vertical leap, and then being able to move better laterally, I would say would be two areas of focus. And then you can always get better at shooting and ball handling and stuff like that too. So a lot of skills like that I'll tune up to. But I would say more athleticism, getting more athletic would be a main focus in the off season for sure.
Right, right. And you'll have to forgive me because we don't, it's not like we get to talk daily. So I got to ask you all these hypotheticals down the road why I got you here. So I didn't mean to take your focus away from what's laying ahead. So lastly, your college story is not finished. The ASUN tournament, I believe, begins on March 2nd, and I think you'll be playing on the 3rd, right?
Yeah, so it begins this Sunday. Stetson and Central Arkansas will play at Lipscomb, and then Austin P and North Florida will play at North Alabama. The winner of Austin P North Florida will play North Alabama the next day, and then we'll play the winner of Stetson Central Arkansas the day after that Monday.
Okay.
So that's when our first game will be, but the tournament officially starts that next Sunday.
Right.
So Sunday, yeah.
Up to this point, and like I said, there's more to be written, but up to this point, what's some of your fondest memories of your college experience?
I would say my 3rd year when I hit a game winner versus our rival Belmont, and we haven't beat Belmont in a while. I would say that was definitely a really cool moment for us because the way that game ended by 2. And then we had the ball and we turned it over. And then Belmont went down and guy got fouled, hit free throws. And there was about, I want to say 8 seconds left. And we had to dribble it up the court. I set a ball screen, rolled to the hoop. My teammate, Darren Boyd, gave me a great pass, laid it in. And then that was the game. I laid it in with like a second left. And then they tried to throw a full court pass and it didn't work. So that was really fun. Everyone stormed the court after, and just beating a crosstown rival like Belmont for the first time in a while and winning like that was a really fun moment. But also that year too, we had a trip at the end of the year. We were in Florida for about 2 weeks, which was really unique because we had the ASUN tournament in Florida. So we flew down, we played Florida Gulf Coast, and then we played Stetson after that. And then right after they were figuring out the bracket, and turns out we had to play Stetson again at their place. We had like 4 days after that where we were just Florida. I think we went to some beach for a while and we were just hanging out with a bunch of my teammates. And then we ended up beating Stetson in the tournament, and then we traveled to Kennesaw State. So it was like that road trip just felt never ending, and it was a really unique experience. And also my freshman year at Valpo, we were able to knock off Drake when they were undefeated and ranked at our place. We beat them by like 20. We were their first loss. So that was pretty fun with those guys too.
Right. And Drake's having a fantastic year this year. Yeah. Sure. As are you guys. Well, Jacob, I'll be watching next week. I wish you and the team the best of luck for the rest of the season. Hope to see you in March Madness. And as you get into the draft process, maybe we could talk again as you're preparing for workouts and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Jacob. Our next special guest is Air Force senior guard Ethan Taylor, a second-year co-captain and a three-time Mountain West All-Academic selection. Ethan has been a stat-stuffing machine for the Falcons this season, averaging 14.1 points, 5.6 rebounds, 3.6 assists, and 1.6 steals per game, all of which rank in the top 12 of the conference. He also leads the Mountain West in three-pointers made with 84 and ranks second with a three-point percentage of 38.7. For his career at Air Force, Ethan is the school's all-time leader in starts with 117, and he ranks second in three-pointers made, third in assists, and 12th in scoring. Welcome to the show, Ethan. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. How about yourself? Feeling good.
I am doing good. Third interview today in this show. We're going to have it's kind of, I wouldn't say it's a mid-major special because Mountain West really isn't mid-major. And we had a guy from the Big East on, but we did have one guy from Lipscomb on. So anyway, it's been a busy day. We're going to have a loaded show. So your hometown is Houston. And based on your bio, it appears that you had Air Force as a target destination well before you graduated high school. Is that correct? And what was the attraction for you?
You know, my whole thing when I was in high school is that I wanted to go somewhere that wanted me, early. I didn't want to be anyone's second, third choice. That, they just kind of pulled me in last minute and, see what happens. I wanted to go to a team that was confident with me. And I think also, I just wanted to play stress-free in my senior year. I wanted to play, have fun, enjoy the last season of playing with, some of the guys you grew up with since you were a kid. So I think, selecting Air Force early on, helped me just, play and have fun my senior year. And I think it also helped me in the long run better with my confidence and some other aspects of my game.
Okay. And did any other schools come calling, while you were in high school?
Yeah, I did have some, other schools before I committed to Air Force. And, after I committed, some schools were trying to do things. But like I said, after I'd committed, I knew some schools were probably looking at me just because of, the production I was putting on. But I didn't want to go somewhere, that they were not bought in on me already. So.
I understand. So you're going to have to explain this to me because I've never quite heard this major before. You're a systems engineering with a focus on human factors major. Could you explain that a little?
Yeah. So systems engineering is essentially new. It's a new age of engineering. It's basically, models, breaking down stuff that has previously been done like through paperwork or, by hand blueprints and putting it in, some type of SysML language, which is pretty much just an app that you put on your computer that helps you digitally model stuff like that. That's kind of the new age of engineering. And then the human factors part is pretty much just trying to make designs and models that help humans live a better life. So like the chair you're sitting in right now, a human factors person probably made it so that it was very comfortable, and that's why people buy it. So that's pretty much the breakdown of my major.
I don't think a human made this chair because it makes my back hurt every time.
Well, then, yeah, it wasn't us. It wasn't us. It wasn't the human factors guys.
So to ask another question about that, so are you more of a computer programmer or more of a mechanical engineer or?
See, and that's the good thing about systems engineering. It's a mix of all engineering. You have to have a good concept of everything because you work in different fields. So, I take mech classes, electrical engineering classes, like all the different classes, just because you need that broad scope so that if a company or a mechanical engineer needs something to be made, like they're building a bridge or whatever, instead of them doing it by hand in the blueprint, system engineer will come in, blueprint it for them in the model. And that way you can make changes fast. You can, adapt, change to different budgets and stuff like that. And you can also test it out in the model without having to waste materials in the real world. So it's a mix of both computer stuff and as well as like hands-on. It's that right in between.
Interesting. So You've been in Colorado for 4 years, and I hear that you have yet to ski. When are you hitting the slopes?
Yeah. I'm hitting the slopes after the season. That's my plan. I gotta try that at least one time. I'm probably gonna be on the bunny slopes the whole time, but I gotta get up there at least once. It'd be a shame to say I never did it.
Indeed, indeed. I grew up in the Pocono Mountains, which can't compare to the Rockies where you are, but I basically grew up with skis on my feet. So it's your first couple of hours will probably be some of the most frustrating you've ever had in your life, and then afterwards you're going to have this one. It's kind of like riding a bike, but it takes a little longer. But then you're going to have a stretch where it finally clicks, and then you're going to be hooked.
Yeah. That's what I'm hoping on. I'm hoping
Yeah.
that I like it.
Yeah. Now I don't know what it's. You're about a foot taller than me. Well, not quite, but you're significantly taller. So I always wondered if for tall people it was harder. Center
Gotta
of
find out.
gravity and everything. Yeah. Anyway, good luck with that. All right. So it's not been the greatest season for Air Force, but you keep producing night in and night out. Where does the drive come from?
I'm just showcasing my abilities. I put in, work in the off season, and after practice and stuff like that, and just getting confidence and support from my family and friends and my teammates. It doesn't make sense to try to, feel bad about it and not be able to play the best of my ability. Regardless of the outcome, I got to do what I can to help the team win, especially being a captain. Leading in that way, and I'm blessed that I've been able to play at the level I've been able to play at and help my team in any way that I can. But, that's where the motivation is just, leaning on the people around me, leaning on God and just playing in that fashion.
Right, right. Last week you got your first conference victory of this season. How did that feel?
It was great. We've had a lot of close games this year, a lot of games that weren't so close. And, to be able to pull one out, it was huge for the whole team, but, especially for the seniors. We put a lot of effort and a lot of grind in this program. And some people may say that, oh, your senior year was wasted. And I don't think so at all. But, to get that win under your belt after putting in so much time and effort and trying to lead and be an example, it was a really good feeling.
Right, right. And the season's not over.
It's
Now,
not.
and you have 3 games against arguably the 3 toughest teams in the conference, and then the Mountain West, conference tourney. So, what is your goal for the team? As the team, what is the goal for the remainder of the season?
We set a goal at the beginning of the conference, win a conference game, and then after we got that one last week against Fresno, our next goal has been win another one. We got to keep that mindset of just next game mentality. The past is the past because the more games you win, the more confidence you feel. And the Mountain West Conference tournament is 0-0. Everybody has to win if you want to go on. So that's been our goal since after Fresno and conference in general is just win a game, one game at a time, win a game.
Right. And I would think, New Mexico and Utah State really look good. Boise, is right there in the mix as well with San Diego State, Colorado State. I would think, though, if you can grab one, maybe 2 of those games, you would have to be, riding a high going into the tournament.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And that's something we talked about. A lot of people, they count you out just because of results and records and stuff. But, every team is beatable. Every team is human. So, we're going into these games with the expectation to win. And that would be great. That'd be a great thing. We talked about, great feeling and going to the conference tournament after beating some of the toughest teams in the league. Have that chip on your shoulder as you go into playing someone else for the playoffs.
Right. And then, when you think about it, I often talk to guys, that are in the one bid conferences, which you're not, but, I can't imagine being in their shoes. They go like 25-5 the whole season, and yet they still have to win their conference tourney. And so if they have one slip up, one bad day, their whole season is just wiped out. You don't have that pressure. And I would think that would actually, to me, I would rather be in that position. Yeah.
No, it's a good spot to be in. The Mountain West is a good conference, and glad that, the people around the committee or whoever decides knows that. And, that's something we talk about is that you got to just win games and impress people. That's how you get to the postseason.
It's also the beauty of college basketball because no matter how you played, you still get a chance. And I hope they never change that because it makes it beautiful. So, as a player, what accomplishment are you most proud of?
Good question. Hmm. I would say, okay, it's twofold. I don't want to be selfish here. It's
That's
twofold.
okay.
As 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 a member of the airport women's basketball team, I think my greatest accomplishment has been just sticking out for 4 years and being a co-captain, and have been able to like really just kind of put my presence in the foundation of where I think this program could go. I think that's been a really huge part of why I was brought here, and my motivation to be here. I think that's something I really take great pride in, is just like being able to teach younger guys, the way to play, like how to get through stuff. And that's a really big accomplishment of mine that I feel that I've done a good job in. And secondly, I'll be a little selfish, but getting 1,000 points, that's insane, man. That was an amazing, especially getting it earlier on in the year. I was very proud of that moment.
Good. And as I said at the top, you're going to be in the Air Force record books for a long time. So well done.
Thank you.
Overall, what are some of your fondest memories from your time at Air Force, either on or off the court?
Some of my fondest memories. On the court will have to be the win at the pit. That's got to be up there. That was an insane game from start to finish. Great atmosphere there. So hopefully, we can recreate that this upcoming Saturday. But most of my memories, I would say, is just like sticking it out with the guys. I've Jeffrey Mills, Chase Beasley, some of the other seniors. I've been around these guys for years now, and like just being able to just like bounce back and like, get up when you're getting knocked down. That's some of the best times I've had here in my experience. I can't really put a name on an exact memory, because it's just, it's just a great feeling to be around these guys.
Right. We've never had a player from a service academy on the show before. Everybody we talk to always has designs on playing pro ball at some level. At Air Force, you're required to serve at least 5 years of active duty upon graduation.
Right.
You're slated to start with the Space Force, which is exciting. Yeah. However, there's little doubt in my mind that you could play at the G League level, and the international level, and maybe even the NBA level. So is that something you are considering?
Yeah. So, I've talked to, AD and compliance. It's been a dream of mine since I was a kid. So it's definitely something that I've considered and, try to put in the works. But right now, my main focus is just finishing the season strong and, locking down the military aspects of Space Force and stuff like that. But won't lie and say it hasn't been something I thought about.
Okay. But right now you don't have a plan. Like, I mean, I would say that in order for you to go through the draft process, are you going to be able to do some of those things like workouts, private workouts, combines, things like that? Are you going to be able to do some? You're going to have the time in your schedule?
So that's a discussion that I have to have further with AD and the school to allow me to, get through with some of those processes, because some of it, we have a later schedule, so I would have to miss some stuff. But so that's conversations that I've had with AD, and we're still trying to figure it out with all the new changes going on. But yeah, so as of right now, the clear answer is we don't know. So we're just taking it day by day and trying to gather information as we can.
Okay. Well, I know you have to get to practice, so I'll wrap this up. Thank you for being on the show.
Of course, thanks for having me.
You're a pretty cool guy. I got that from your bio. And I wish you the best you and the team the best for the rest of the season. And maybe, when the season's over, you can and you kind of have things ironed out. Maybe we could come back and talk if you are going through the draft process, because I certainly think you could play pro ball somewhere and do it well. So I'm very excited and hope to see you play basketball after your Air Force career.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for having me. We'll for sure figure that out.
All right, thank you, Ethan. Stay in touch.
Of course, thanks for having me.
One thing we didn't have time to get into with Ethan But there are different ways, several routes to play professionally. If you go to a United States Service Academy, Army, Navy, Air Force, you can play professionally without having to wait the full 5 years. I believe David Robinson, for example, of Navy, before with the Spurs, I think he only had to serve 2 years and then went to the NBA. The rules with a new president in the White House, apparently the rules are kind of up in the air. So he may not even have to, and I'm speaking of Ethan now, may not have to wait the full 2 years even. So basically, one of the ways you could do it is being involved in the United States Olympic program. Another way is if you're drafted. I'm not sure how that applies to free agent contracts or international contracts, but there are ways to do it. So Ethan may not have to wait at all or not long, because if he had to wait 5 years, that would put him close to 30 years old. So yeah, that wouldn't be good for his career. So as he said, it's up in the air, and he'll know, and hopefully he'll join us again when that all gets ironed out, and we'll see what his options are. So that wraps up today's show. Before I leave, I wanted to mention that if you'd like to send us a question for the mailbag that we can read on the show and answer on air, we take questions via email at admin, ADMIN, at hoopsprospects.com. We also take questions via social media on Twitter at hoopsprospects, on Instagram at thehoopsprospects, and on Facebook at hoopspros. As always, I want to thank our listeners, and I want to thank our 3 guests. It was great having all 3 guys on the show. And if you ever miss an episode, you can always get caught up at hoopsprospects.com. We will be back soon. We're going to go over the conference tournaments next week, or early next week, actually, because they kick off on March 2nd. Now, not all of them, so don't panic, but some of them are kicking off this Sunday. And the big conferences, or about half the conferences, including all the big conferences, won't start till the following week, around March 12th is when that will happen. So we'll be back to talk about the conferences, probably in 2 different shows. We'll probably cover the early ones in one show and the later ones in the second show. Also, I already know we have guests lined up for next week, so I'm not going to quite announce that right now, but we definitely have some guests coming on next week. So yeah, great having everyone listen, and we'll see you soon.